What is going on, everyone? Good news. Last month, the FBI released the complete 2018 murder rate list. Yes, it takes them almost a year to gather all the information, even with computers. To be fair, there are 17,985 police agencies in the United States, which includes county sheriffs, state police, and federal law enforcement, and everything else. And I'm sure not all of them are handing over the data in a timely manner. They got other things to worry about, like why so many people are getting killed in their neighborhoods. Seeing that the FBI is and should be the final word on crime stats, maybe it's a good idea they do take their time just to get it right. We'll be looking at cities with a population of over 100,000 on per capita. This is how they rank locations on just about everything per capita. That way you get a better idea of the real state of any stat. Why over 100,000? Well, you need a decent sized pool to measure. If you have less than, let's say, 1,000 residents or something, a single murder can just warp that stat. As an example, if you live in Goobertown, Arkansas, which yes, it is a real place, they've got a population of 17, and you have a murder, which they did in 2007, your murder rate will shoot through the roof, making it look like a frickin' war zone, when that may have been the first and only murder they've had in decades. Basically, a single homicide in a small town makes it look 10 times worse than any other place on this list. Now, this is about homicide. When they keep those stats, they don't count things like drunk driving deaths, negligent homicides, things like assaults or fights that ended in someone dying. They actually murder totally different. Anyway, it's not, but it is. Get it? Got it? Good. Here we go. Number 10, Washington, D.C. D.C. had 159 murders in 2018, with a population of about 702,000 residents. Now, the metro area has a little over 6 million residents, but we're focusing on the cities themselves this time, and they have 702,000. Murders in D.C. jumped 40% in 2018. As of December 28, 159 people had been put on ice in the nation's capital, along with being more corrupt than any other city or state in the U.S. Washington, D.C. offers the best chances to visit the afterlife. Like I said, there was a 40% increase from 2017 when they had 114 homicides in total in the city, and that's according to data from the Metropolitan Police Department and the FBI. As if there's not enough things you have to avoid in Washington, D.C. Protesters, tourists, politicians, and investigative reporters are around every corner. Now you gotta worry about murderers too. It's the nation's capital. It should be our safest, cleanest, friendliest city we have. It's almost the exact opposite. The per capita is 22.8 murders per every 100,000 residents. Number 9, West Palm Beach, Florida. 26 homicides in 2018 with a population of about 110,000. West Palm Beach had 26 homicides, 2 less than the city's total for 2017, so improvement. Way to go, West Palm Beach. This one sort of caught me by surprise. I've been here and it really doesn't seem like the place where people are involuntarily kicking the oxygen habit on a regular basis. I always felt like this was more of the place where a lawyer takes a client to lunch. But when you have 26 homicides with that small of a population, you suck as a city because that's too many ex-citizens. 26 isn't a lot compared to others on this video, but for that few residents, it is. They had a wide array of things going on here that contributed to this in 2018, including a serial killer that had just been arrested. He was working the area. West Palm Beach's murder per capita is 24.2. Number 8, Shreveport, Louisiana. 59 homicides in 2018 and 188,000 residents. The only reason to go to Shreveport is for work, court date, see a bail bondsman, or your car breaks down while moving from Jackson, Mississippi to Dallas, and you have no other choice. The overall crime rate in Shreveport is 138% higher than the national average, and it's only safer than 2% of the cities in the United States. 2%! Great job, Shreveport. There were 59 homicides in Shreveport in 2018, like I said. That's 9 more homicides than 2017. That's basically an increase of 18%. The city of Shreveport has a new mayor at the helm, and he's planning to crack down on crime, but we'll see how that'll pan out. I mean, there's probably been 10 other mayors before that have given the same frickin' speech, and nothing changes. It just gets worse. Their murder rate is 25.7. Number 7, Dayton, Ohio. 37 murders and 140,000 residents. Dayton, Ohio is a medium-sized city that was thrust into the national spotlight in May of 2019 with some serious tornadoes. Dayton, Ohio is a city in western Ohio. It's home to the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force. They have a historical park that contains the Wright brothers plane and some antique trains. I tell you this because most people not from the Midwest have no idea where Dayton is. You might know if you ever had to do a paper on the Wright brothers in school. Dayton had 36 37 murders in 2018, which is 4 more than 2017, but 2 less than 2016. So they're on a bit of a roller coaster here. In Dayton, you have a 1 in 20 chance of becoming the victim of a crime. The murder rate is 26.4 in Dayton, Ohio. Number 6, Memphis, Tennessee. 186 homicides with a population of 650,000. That's a lot of homicides. If you had no idea Memphis was going to be on this list, I'd like to welcome you to the channel. I talk about this city all the time whenever crime is a factor. So if you're here a lot, you probably already had an idea it was going to be here. If you read just the statistics on Memphis and knew nothing else about the city, even that it existed, you'd think you're reading the screenplay for a disaster movie. The new FBI statistics show the overall crime rate fell across the country last year, and including in Memphis. However, some violent crimes like homicides and aggravated assaults increased in this little jewel on the Mississippi River. The FBI data shows that Memphis reported 186 homicides in 2018 compared to 181 in 2017. Their murder rate is 28.5. Number 5, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 87 homicides with a population of 229,000. That sucks. Baton Rouge was incorporated in 1817, and it's been nothing but problems since. In 1822, the Pentagon Barracks Complex was completed. The site had been used by the Spanish, the French, the British, the Confederate States Army, the United States Army, and was part of the short-lived Republic of West Florida. And I'm sure parts of Louisiana would like to give this city back to Florida. Almost like giving up on a dog you've tried to train for years and years, but it won't stop biting your hand and humping your leg. You call the old owner and, hey man, I know we've had the dog for some time, but this thing won't stop on my leg no matter what I do. I have ACL surgery next week and I'm already missing a finger. I need you to take the dog back. That's kind of how Louisiana thinks about Baton Rouge. The overall crime rate in Baton Rouge is 141% higher than the national average. Way to go. The murder rate in Baton Rouge is 35.1. That means 35.1 people will be murdered out of every 100,000. Great stats. Number 4, New Orleans. 146 murders with a population of 390,000. In 2018, New Orleans had 146 murders, the lowest annual murder rate since 1971. Other violent crimes in 2018 also experienced a drop from the previous year, but honestly, how bad does that suck? You drop to the lowest number of murders in almost 50 years, and your murder rate still lands you at the 5th spot of the FBI's list. Congratulations, Louisiana. You have a hat trick. 3 of your cities are in the top 10 most dangerous cities in the United States. What are they doing in this state? Or what aren't they doing in this state? You know it's bad when people move to Juarez, Mexico before your state because of safety concerns. The murder rate in New Orleans is 37.1. Number 3, Detroit, Michigan. 261 murders and a population of 673,000. The amount of murders in Michigan's largest city has dropped for the second consecutive year, with 261 homicides in 2018. That's according to the FBI. That number is the lowest on record for more than 50 years. In 1966, there were 214 homicides. Back then, Detroit's population was closer to 1.5 million people. Their rate back then was 14 homicides for every 100,000 residents. 216 homicides in 2018 compared to Detroit's most recent estimate of the population, like I said, 673,000. That rate brings them up to 39 per every 100,000 residents. So you almost got, 40 people getting killed out of every 100,000. Now, to be fair, Detroit isn't completely bad like it used to be. They're kind of turning things around. Their downtown part that's what's turning around. It's nice now. It's relatively safe. It's decent. Hopefully they can turn the rest of it around. The overall crime rate in Detroit is something they have to get a hold of because it's 140% higher than the national average. That might help things considerably. And now we have Baltimore, or B-more, as some people call it. And before you do, stop typing. You might not call it B-more, but a lot of people do. I had one guy tell me once that nobody calls Dallas Big D. I asked him if he ever left the house. He didn't talk to me after that. Anyway, in 2018, Baltimore recorded 309 homicides. 13 victims had been wounded in the previous year, but were added to the homicide count because they died in 2018. In 2017, Baltimore recorded 342 homicides, so they got better. The only good thing about those numbers is that lowers the home values. So your mortgage should be pretty low. Ask a mortgage broker, he'll tell you if you can get the mortgage. Home loans sometimes aren't that easy in really, really bad neighborhoods. Anyway, you might not want to live there, but at least it's inexpensive. Just don't park your car in the street. You'll be filling out an auto insurance claim every single week. Baltimore is a very dangerous city. The murder rate is 51. That's 51 people get killed out of every 100,000 people. That's a lot. And number 1, St. Louis, Missouri. 186 murders in a population of 302,000 people. I just did a list on St. Louis, and I gotta tell you, the locals weren't too happy. It's a dangerous place. There's a lot of bad neighborhoods. They seem to get mad at me because I'm talking about the obvious, that their city kind of sucks. I even had a few emails, including one that started off by calling me a racist because I only talked about minority neighborhoods. First of all, he was wrong. One of the neighborhoods near downtown has been revitalized, and the only reason it was on the list because they got a whole bunch of bars and there was a whole bunch of assaults all year long. Anyway, raised the crime rate. But I was just going over stats. My stats don't know race. I mean, come on. Anyway, I explained that and told him to grow the F up, and he went full Downton Abbey on me. He said, "Sir, you will not address me in that manner. I am a retired naval officer." I'm sure if I was in front of him, he would have slapped me across the face with a riding glove or something like that. Challenged me to a duel. I told him I was in the army and he still needed to grow the F up. He replied that I was a very dangerous man. I agreed, but told him only if I was drinking and I had one of those bedazzle tools. That's the only time I'm dangerous. Anyway, St. Louis is a dangerous place and it should be avoided. The murder rate in St. Louis is 60.9. That's 60.9 per 100,000. That's a lot. Though the city still has the highest murder rate in the country, 2018 marked the second consecutive year that it was on the decline in total murders. So that's good, but they're still number 1 according to the FBI, not me. Alright, so that is my video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Without you guys, I'm just a traveling guy with a bedazzle kit, and I guess I'm very dangerous. Anyway, I now have the join button. If you'd like to join and support the channel, you just hit that join button and pick which one you want, if that's what you're into. There's no need to. I will have like member-only chats and things like that coming up in the future. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like button, leave me a comment. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.